Hey everybody, get ready, sit back, relax, because it's time for the Billy Bob Show.
Turkey in the straw,
Turkey in the straw,
turkey in the straw.
turkey in the straw.
Billy Bob and Looney Bird gonna give you all the words, so get smart and not started on the Billy Bob Show. Hey everybody, today Morgan is gonna teach us all how to paint using the paints that come with the advent calendar. Yippee!
I'm going to talk to you guys about the different kinds of brushes that you've gotten in your paint set. So we have a wide variety of brushes here. And so we have our dry brush and then all of our wet brushes. So I'll just start with our dry brush. So this is a fan brush. So this is what you're going to be using for blending, or like, so I think I had talked about this already, but like if you were blending like different colors, like the blush on Mitzi's cheek with her skin tone, you'd be able to kind of brush it with this dry, which would blend it together. You can also use it to create details like texture in fur. So if you wanted to add a couple strokes with it to create some fur texture in your miniatures, this is good for that. And anything else that you really want to do with this brush. Now, when you're looking at this, you'll see on here that there are different numbers. And so this is the size of the brush, not necessarily numbered like this is brush 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is actually the size of the brush that you have.
Ah, got it.
Hush,
And then when
Looney.
we move over to our wet brushes, we have a spotter. And that's what these ones are right here. So they have a nice short tip to them. So we have a size a 2 in this as well, and a half. So these are good for doing really small details, like say you're doing
Like your brain.
Hush, Looney.
little lines in the pupils, or if you were doing even like if you're doing a small drawing, it works very similar to using like a pencil. So you would treat this like a pencil. You'd get a small amount of paint on here, and then you would just carefully use it. And you don't want to push too hard on these because you want it to hold its firmness and shape so that you can continue using it with those fine tips.
Hope you're listening, Looney Bird.
I am. I'm getting really smart at here.
These are just known as long round brushes. I think that's what this one is. Mine is a little bit bent, and I think that's still what this is. I'm gonna have to get it wet and try to reshape it to really see. But these ones allow for a variety of strokes, and they give you the ability to get them completely wet. And inside the base here, it holds on to water. So when you have the paint at the edge, it keeps you from having to dip in the paint too often. Not really too often, I just mean often, in comparison to when you are just using a flat brush, for example. But it will hold on to that water, and then you are able to go from, if you push down further, you have a wider stroke, and then you can slowly come up to thin, which is something really cool that you can do with just creating different widths of lines and different details that you're going through. So I would say like these ones are more of a detail type of brush. And then this one right here is a liner. So if you feel your brush's ends, when you touch this one, you're gonna notice that it's hard. It's like this hard feeling on it, and it comes to a straight point. So these ones are really good for creating things like tree branches, or like foliage, little flower lines,
Looney Bird feathers?
or vines, things like that.
Feathers for Looney
And
Bird.
you're able to go
Looney
from
hush.
those thick lines, and then if you let up a little bit, you can go into a thin line. And then over here, I don't have a level floor, so that's why everything's rolling everywhere.
I thought I was
So
drunk.
Looney.
these ones are our flat brushes. So these ones are round. This is our dry brush, which is a fan brush. This one is an angular shader. And so this one allows you to get really clean, crisp details. And with this edge right here, it just gives you a lot of ability to control it and have more precision in the things you're doing. And then this one is a regular a filbert. And so if you look at it, you'll notice that it has a rounded top versus these ones over here that are just a flat, which is just, it's squared off. So they're a little bit different. So with the rounded edge, that allows you to create softer edges. Like if you're doing a flower, you can go in a more of a circle, different things like that. And then over here, you did get 3 different sizes of, and actually, no, this one's a filbert as well. It's just smaller, so it was harder for me to see. But it is rounded here at the top. So that is our filbert, and then we have 2 flats. So we have one smaller and one larger. And these ones, with their shape, they allow you to do longer brush strokes, longer and bigger strokes for wider areas. And when you're painting, you're gonna know if one is too big or too small, if you're covering too much area. But it's nice to have both of these very different sizes for especially what we're gonna be doing.
I'm having fun, Billy Bob. Are you enjoying this?
I sure am, Looney Bird.
So I'm
Morgan's
gonna
the
move
best.
all of these over here, and we're gonna paint a little bit.
Yippee!
So I thought it would be cool if we did just a regular circle. Now, for some reason my table surface isn't very flat.
Houston, we have a problem.
Looney Bird, Morgan can fix it. She can fix anything.
Yeah, but her table's not flat. You can't draw on a table if it's not flat.
Looney Bird, anything can happen on live video, but she'll take care of it. Morgan's smart as
Not restarted.
Okay, let's try this again. So we're gonna do a circle, and we'll do a square. And then I can show you a little bit better on how these brushes are. I need something to mix my paints on.
What'd you say, Billy Bob?
She said she needs to go get something to mix her paints on, Looney Bird. Now just hush up and watch.
I'm hushing the best I can.
Okay, so before you start painting, make sure you have something to put your paint on. I have a little plastic palette, but anything will work. You can even use a paper plate. You can use anything because it'll rinse off with the acrylic paint. And you'll need water.
Water?
So make sure you have a thing of water. And then I also like to have paper towels.
Paper towels?
Because when you're going between colors, after you wash your brush, you're gonna want to dry it off and get the remainder of the paint on there.
Right.
So put these
Right,
here
right,
so you
right.
guys can see them. And then normally I also like to have this in a little.
Where's she going, Billy Bob?
I don't know, Looney Bird. How should I know? Maybe she's got to go to the bathroom.
While she's doing a video?
Well, I don't know, Looney Bird. Why don't you ask her when she gets back? Well, just pay attention. We'll see where she went. I'm sure it was something really important.
Wonder what it was.
Well, we're going to find out.
All right, before you get started, you want to have everything you need there because when you start painting, it's hard to walk away. You might have an animal or a cat jump up.
That would never
And you want to
happen.
be able to protect everything that you have. And it's nice to have everything laid out so you can find it. So you want a cup of water.
Water?
So you can wash your brush in between colors. You are gonna want a couple paper towels.
Paper towels?
This is what you're gonna use to dry off your brush after you wash it. And you want something to mix your paints on. So you can use a paper plate, you can use a piece of wood, you can use anything for your paints.
That looks like
But
an old
having
telephone
something
dialer.
like this or something plastic would make it so you can actually save your paint if you have too much on there. You're able to put a little water on it and saran wrap over it so you can actually still use those colors later on if you end up wanting to come back to your piece. But we only really want to use a small amount of paint anyway, so that way we don't have to do that.
Looney Bird, stay quiet.
And so we are going to paint a square and a circle.
Yippee! Shh! Sorry.
So let's see. What color should we use? Let's see, I really liked this blue, so I'd like to see what that blue can do. The pink looked really cool. And let's see, we'll do some white. So let's see what these look like. I'm so excited. Okay, so all of our paints are closed up here, so we need to open the tops of those.
Hey, Billy Bob, can I talk now?
No, Looney Bird.
But she's just opening paints. You know, nothing's going on.
Yeah, but you have to remain respectful anyway, Looney Bird.
Yeah, but see, she's just opening paints. I could like tell jokes. I could sing songs. La 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 la.
Looney Bird, don't sing while she's opening paints.
Why? Is there some law you're not supposed to sing while opening paints?
Yeah, it's not smarted, Looney Bird. It's just not smarted. Now be quiet.
Okay, so we're gonna start with just the blue and the white. So it's best if you work with cool colors at one time and then warm colors at the other part of it, because they don't always go well together or blend well together, so you kind of just want to plan it out. But with paint, it's very forgiving. If you make a mistake with paint, you can let it dry and then you can paint over it. So there is really no mistakes that can be made with paint. Sometimes it feels a little intimidating.
She ain't seen me paint.
Be quiet, Billy Bob.
But I promise you, like, this is more forgiving than even drawing with a pencil and an eraser. So as you can see, I just put a very small amount on here. You don't need much. All right, I think that we are gonna do our square first. So with our square one, I am going to use, let's see, let's just try our number 6 of the ones that are square. So this one, and I don't actually have all these memorized with the names of these. I had to look them up because usually I just go with the paintbrush that I see and I know. But this is the,
What the
see,
heck?
that's what I'm talking about. You don't want to have to leave your work area and your cat jump up here.
What was that, Billy Bob?
So this is just the flat brush.
I think it was a cat.
Just a regular flat brush. Okay, so we got our blue, and with this nice straight angle, we can go right up to the edge of this square that I did.
Boy, Morgan's good.
Yeah, she stays in the lines.
Oops.
That cat looks like it grew some hair.
And outside that line, but that's all right. That's all right. I really like this color. This is a fun color.
Looks like turquoise to me.
Yeah, Aaron used to have a car that color.
And then sometimes instead of just mixing it, I actually really enjoy mixing the colors on the canvas because it creates this whole different look with the paint.
Don't talk about that car. He'll start crying.
And I'll kind of show you the difference. So then if you had your paint here and you pre-mixed it, you would already have a color established. So versus just mixing it on there. But this really gives you the ability to come right up to that edge. And acrylic paint dries really fast. So as you can see, like the paint we did earlier, seconds ago, is actually already drying on there.
I think Morgan should get millions of dollars for this painting.
Looney Bird, it's just a blue square.
Yeah, but did you see that story about the guy that got $6 million for a banana taped to a wall?
Yeah, that was pretty weird.
Okay, well then, Morgan's blue square is worth twice that. I'd say $12 million, Billy Bob, for this blue square.
So this is our square. So I like that. And we'll come back in here in a little bit and we'll...
All right, well, if anybody wants it for $12 million, Looney Bird, I'm sure Morgan would be happy to sell it to him and maybe even sign it.
It's a really fun square. Okay, so we have done our blue right here, right? So now we want to make sure we wash our brush. You move it back and forth. You brush it against the bottom of your cup. And then when you are done, you wipe it on the side of your cup on both sides. And I usually do that a couple times just to be sure. And then you use your paper towel or sometimes I just have like a dedicated old piece of shirt or something that I use to just wipe them so that I don't go through so many paper towels. But then you just wipe them dry, and then you get it back to that original shape that you had with your square, so that it dries back in that form and you keep that nice square shape. So now let's try our circle. Now it's not a perfect circle, believe it or not. A circle is the hardest shape to draw, but with a paintbrush, it's actually a little easier to do. And I say that now, and then watch me do this, and you're like, oh, this girl can't paint a circle. So let's see that paint color. We'll put it right over here. Oh, that's a cool color. I like that.
Yeah, and then maybe she could buy a table that's flat.
Looney Bird, be quiet. Morgan's doing the best she
it's
can.
Different. You see how you get that nice round edge with it?
Maybe we could do a Kickstarter. Buy Morgan a flat table.
And then just take your time. Like, painting is a relaxing, fun, to me, like a soothing, therapeutic activity. And I feel like you can turn on some good music and you can really just be in your own little world while you're doing it.
Looney Bird, Morgan don't need no Kickstarter to buy a flat table.
I'm just trying to help.
Looney Bird, be quiet. Morgan's trying to concentrate.
And here, for an experiment, we're gonna put some white right here. And we'll come out, paint this out. So that we can try our fan brush. Actually haven't used a fan brush in a while. So right now I am blending, this is wet on wet for how I'm blending this.
I didn't know you could do that.
There are no rules, Looney Bird.
I'm just gonna come around with some more white on the side.
How much do you think we could get for the circle and the square?
Looney Bird,
Let's
maybe
see.
a
We'll
dollar?
Come up with something a little more interesting. I'm gonna pop in some red, and then try our fan brush.
Hey, you know you can still get an advent calendar. You just can't get it by December 1st.
Sometimes it's hard to really come up with an example until I'm in the moment and doing it.
Well, that's no problem. We'll just catch up, right, Billy Bob?
So
Yeah,
again, you
catch
wanna
up. And mustard.
Wash your brush. Unless you have a lot of paint on there and you're coming right back to that brush, you always want your brushes to be clean. You don't want them to harden with the paint on there, because then that's a whole different set of challenges that you leave yourself. So actually I was planning on using this again. Let's try that small one. Let's see what that feels like. So we got our red. I'm gonna come back in here right next to it.
Looks like an eyeball.
You're loony.
That's my name.
Okay. Now, like I said, these dry rather fast. So when you're moving to your fan brush, so say we want to just kind of blend this a little bit. You can kind of lightly go over this, and it just blends it in nicely. You see how it just created that soft blending feel?
Yeah,
Almost like, like blush.
nice and soft.
And and there was no paint on this. It was just dry. But now it does have some paint on the bottom of it, and I usually don't like to get the whole thing wet, but this is another case of making sure that you rinse it, you dry it, and then you get it back to that form that it was in. Now, don't be scared if it ends up looking like this. As it dries, it'll be easier to fan it out again. But you just want to make sure you keep this brush clean, and then you let it dry completely before you want to go back and use this for fanning again. It shouldn't take too long. Just make sure you dry it off with your paper towel or your rag, whatever you chose to use. Let's go back to that blue one. Let's add a darker blue.
So you say you can still get an advent calendar?
Sure, Looney Bird, Aaron will make you one. You just can't get it by December 1st because it's already past that.
Oh. You mean it'll still be fun?
Sure, Looney Bird, it'll be fun no matter when you get it.
And now, as you can see, I used very little, but it was still too much paint. I really don't need all this paint. So now we're gonna try and do something with it. Wanted to use, all right. So this is the angular shader. So it's just your flat brush that has that angle in it. Let's see how dark this is. And I'm using this just because I wanted a little bit more control. And actually, I think I just pushed a little bit too hard with it.
I don't know if I'd have the patience for this, Billy Bob.
Well, you gotta have patience when you're an artist and you're doing painting.
And then, to make it look a little darker, you wouldn't expect it, but even creating a purple out of the red and the blue creates this darker.
You take it real slow and careful. Slow and careful.
And an interesting thing that, you probably don't even need to know all this, but light colors fall back and dark colors come forward, as well as warm colors come forward and cool colors go back. So that's kind of another way you can get kind of some depth in there. So we'll make it look like what we had created before. Sorry, my cats are going crazy. No, please, you're not allowed to join in. Not allowed. I also love creating my own colors.
Slow and careful. Slow and careful. Slow and careful. Slow and careful.
Slow and careful.
It's kind of fun, right? Come into this one too. Grab my little fan.
Whoa, what's she doing to that eyeball now?
Well, she's just decorating it, Looney Bird, just decorating it. This is free-form art. We're just learning how to use our tools and our paints. So it don't matter what she does. She's just doing stuff, whatever.
But yeah, so, just make up your own little shapes and experiment with these different brushes. Because it's just kind of, it's fun to see what you can create with it. Another fun thing that you can experiment with is dipping your paintbrush in 2 different colors and then painting a stroke with it. because it's really fun to see them come together. You know, and then even come back through. You can dip your paint in a couple different colors for your brush, and then you can come up with, you know, some strokes where you're using all of them. You just want to be careful that you don't muddy up your paint that you already have on there. Let's see. And then you could do it on the front and the back, and you can go and like I said, I like to mix my paint on the canvas a lot. And then you can come in with white. You can add a little highlight, make it pop out there.
I think I'd like to dip my paintbrush in some barbecue sauce about now.
But, you know, there's really no wrong way to paint. So the last thing I was gonna show is the fine details that you can do. You wash your brush, you wipe it off.
Starting to get hungry, Billy Bob?
Yeah,
Okay.
I is. And you know what? Them barbecued ribs we was cooking a little earlier is starting to sound real good to me.
So the really fine detail one, again, is that brush that has that hard edge. So we're gonna actually, see, I don't wanna use it to really mix. Let's see, we'll take some red and we'll do our purple again.
Yeah, well, let's finish this drawing and go get us some ribs, Billy Bob.
Just mix it in there until I come up with a,
Sure enough, Looney Bird. I hope we don't offend any vegetarians out there, you know, talking about going to get some ribs.
I think that looks good, nice and dark, still a nice pretty color. I'm gonna take just a little bit here at the tip. And I thought maybe I would make a couple little people in here or something. Yeah, this brush is nice for those.
Yeah, well, you know, sometimes people just have to have a thicker skin. You know, not be offended at everything anybody says.
Right, Looney Bird. So let's chow down on some ribs after this is over.
You got it, Billy Bob.
Maybe some cornbread and some sweet tea.
Yeah, some barbecued beans.
You know, I'm no Bob Ross, but
That's southern eating there, Looney Bird. How about some corn on the cob?
Looney birds can't eat corn, Billy Bob. We ain't got no teeth.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, something like that.
All right, that looks good, Morgan. Let's wrap it up and go get some chow.
Yeah, we're starting to get hungry.
She ain't done yet, Looney Bird. Let her finish her painting.
And then if you really want something to pop, you can come back in with some white. And there's no rule that you have to use the paintbrush the way that, you know, I just showed you that they were intended for. You're gonna find your favorite paintbrush, and more often than not, you'll just end up using that one because you like how it works. You figured out how to get it in the angles you like.
Okay, we get it. Looks real good, Morgan. Thank you very much for that.
Yeah, thanks, Morgan. We gotta go get something to eat now.
Looney Bird, that's not very nice. That's not polite at all. Just let Morgan know that we're very happy with what she did, and we got it. We're gonna go experiment with our paintbrushes right after we have some dinner.
I don't think she heard you, Billy Bob.
Well, that's okay. let's just let Morgan finish her work here. You know, it is her time to show how to paint, and at least this ain't no Joe Rogan interview that's 3 hours long. I mean, how much longer can Morgan paint a little blue square?
I don't know. She might have some more creative ideas.
What else can you do to a blue square, Looney Bird? I don't know.
I don't know either, Billy Bob. Those ribs are sounding pretty good right now.
Would you guys pipe down? Some of us are trying to learn something.
Yeah, we want to be good artists like Morgan.
And sell our artwork for lots of money.
Rolf, that's not the point of art. You know, I mean, we was joking around about selling these drawings of the square and the circle for $12 million. That was just a joke.
A joke? They're worth twice that. 24 million, Billy Bob. 24 million bucks. Or nothing.
There could be somebody that'd pay $24 million for a square in a blue box. How about Elon Musk? He bought Twitter for $40 billion.
Yeah, maybe Elon Musk would like our paintings.
Yeah, I think he'll put your paintings on a rocket ship and send them into the sun.
You guys can laugh, but I'm paying attention to Morgan and learning a whole boatload about art and paints and paintbrushes.
Well, don't get your hopes up, Rolf. Not everybody can be a high-paid artist like Morgan overnight. We're just trying to have some fun. Did you guys see that? Morgan dipped her paintbrush in the white paint and the brown paint at the same time, but she got paint on different parts of the brush.
That's amazing. I didn't know you could do that.
There's still no rules. There's just no rules.
It looks like Morgan has gone into a painter's trance.
Yeah, trance. That's where you get so into what you're doing. You forget to talk, you forget to sleep, you forget to eat.
I ain't forgetting to eat.
Yeah, but we're not in the painter's trance. Morgan is. But she don't want to talk to us no more. She just wants to play with her paints and her paintbrushes, just like you will when you get your paints and your paintbrushes. You just trying everything you can think of and brushing strokes that on your paper that you've never done before and seeing what comes out. It's kind of like creativity just taking you by the storm and making you do stuff you ain't never thought about doing. And we ain't got no idea where Morgan's going with this, but we just need to be quiet.
Yeah, be quiet.
And watch. So Looney Bird, how about picking a nice piece of music for us to listen to while we watch Morgan as she goes into her painter's trance here.
I got the perfect song, Billy Bob. Fast Asleep on the Forest Floor by Tele and the Ghost of Our Lord.
So your final step of cleaning up, of course, is you empty out your paint cup. That's not the cup. And then with your brushes, even though you have washed them, there is still going to be some type of residue on there. So with those brushes, you want to just put them under water. Add just a couple drops of soap. And then you'll just kind of wash out your brush, finish rinsing out that soap.
Thank you, Morgan, for that wonderful lesson in painting today.
I loved it, Billy Bob.
Turkey in the straw,
Turkey in the straw.
turkey in the straw.
Turkey in the straw.
Billy Bob and Looney Bird gonna give you all the words, so get smart and not started on the Billy Bob Show. So long, everybody.